Maria, that as we talked about at the top of this segment, we are seeing this capex boom. The CBO scoring is static. It's no matter what you do, you raise taxes, you lower taxes, you grow 1.8%. I think we're going to see by the fourth quarter, first quarter next year, I think we're going to see growth numbers with a 3 in front of them, and we're going to see this AI productivity boom start kicking in. So the important thing here is we're going to have high growth, but it's going to be non-inflationary.
Great point. I want to take a break and come back and ask you about the Federal Reserve. Stay right there, Secretary. We'll pick up the discussion.
This GTA 6 gameplay leak is absolutely insane, but it looks like it's only going to affect one console, at least for now. We'll be talking about what that is, what system it's on, and more, all in this video today. So a quick housekeeping note in case you guys are wondering where I was, maybe over
really upset about illegal immigration. You. How do you think a hotel room gets clean? How do you think the food on your table? What do you think washes your dishes? White men in America are 45 more times likely than you.
There you go. Thanks, Hunter. It's been 1 year since his father quit the 2024 race in this race. Now Hunter Biden melting down over the deportation.
You calling for some wheels? I'm Johnny on the spot. I'll hook you up.
To the tune of $10 million. Hunter also raging at the president himself.
Easy. They think you're done.
Fox 62 Republicans to President Trump, Kellyanne Conway, turns us now. Kellyanne, you can witness.
Wow. Hunter Biden's view of immigrants is unbelievably lacking in dignity and humanity. The legal immigrants who come here to work hard. But he thinks diversity in his party now is one illegal to dust, one to do the dishes, one to diaper your child. It's unbelievable the way he just looks at people. And this is a man filled with rage who has absolutely no platform and purpose because people were paying $1 million for his ridiculous maintenance because dad was the commander-in-chief. That's long time. Also, Brian, I want to know for everyone that he's attacking people he feels betrayed his father and didn't stick by his father, who also stuck by him. Anita Dunn made excuses for Hunter Biden for years, as did her husband Bob Bauer. You've got folks in the administration, folks in the cabinet, you've got these 51 intelligence officers who claim that Hunter's laptop, which we know is authentic and real, embarrassingly humiliating him and his family and every Democrat. They have a clown in themselves. I see them.
You there?
Shadows in themselves because they have a clown.
I'll get there as soon as I can. Alright, I'll get back to work.
People who defended his father's acuity, agility, ability were also defending the scripter and the stricter. I think the Republican National Committee, if not the MAGA Inc., should put Hunter Biden on a retainer immediately. He's one of our best communicators.
Yes, absolutely. So James Carville weighed in an op-ed to the New York Times. You know, he sounded so optimistic last week. Not today. One of the excerpts we share. Constipated, legalists confused. A cracked out clown car, divided. These words I feel like other Democrats using to describe our party as of late. The truth is, they're not wrong. The Democratic Party is in shambles. Okay? By the way, he was pulled out by Hunter Biden, who has won the race since the 1980s. Your thoughts about what Carville's just saying?
So the way Carville fixed this with a moderate, quote, centrist governor from the South and Bill Clinton would never happen again. That is not the modern Democratic Party. They've gone so far to the left, they're so out of sync and out of touch. And Carville's whole plan for winning the Congress and the White House, Brian, means retracting the big, beautiful bill. That would make no sense. It's making permanent child tax credit. $10,000 basically more take-home pay for the American household. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. season. People want this. The Democratic Party is suffering a 19% approval rating, and guess what? Any opponent of the Big Beautiful Bill has 3 and 4 times the popularity of the entire Democratic Party. So their entire message is up Trump. They don't talk about policy. Hunter Biden did not highlight 3 or 4 components of his father's 4-year presidency or 8-year vice presidency that he's proud of. No policies there, just screaming and screaming. I think the Democratic Party is really teetering on permanent obsolescence because of the way that they have no policy response. Also, Friday, just in the last 2 months, the number of Hispanics who say that they support deporting illegal immigrants has increased by 11%, according to the Signal poll just released this week. It's up to 50%, 63% of white people, 53% of black people, 50% of Hispanics. Think about that. They are going along with President Trump and the Republicans, and the money is there in the Big Beautiful Bill funding plan.
Kellyanne, I just don't know who he'd help by doing this. He makes his, he eviscerated any ally his family and left he leaves himself with absolutely no way to find any type of library or legacy or speech.
Yes.
But I get to help that podcaster. Kellyanne, thanks so much.
Emphasize the investigation's importance.
Chairman Comer is doing this the right way. You got to bring in the underlying employees. You start getting them on the record under oath, telling us who, how, who authorized this, who is allowed to put in it, who's in the chain of custody of these documents. It is the most powerful thing we have. It's the signature of the President of the United States.
Chairman lawmakers the only one answers, and energy focus more stuff for the responding federal government agencies and Congress will consider many by executive orders. They claim those orders were signed with not intent to justify the knowledge. In a letter to the House Oversight Committee, they write, Congress deserves to know how or whether the direction and whether the Vice President was aware of such a it appears that Congress inquire about all parties involved. Who represents what? House Oversight Committee Chair James Wilson here today. But first, we're going to ask for a Thank you so much. Thomas and James Comer, Kentucky Chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Chairman, once had to respond very quickly. Thank you for being there. What was heard from the former First Lady's press secretary about the last investigation? How do you tell us it's different this time?
Well, look,
he must not have got the memo that Joe Biden pardoned his entire family, 7 family members, because of my investigation. So, their record of dishonesty knows no boundaries. I mean, that is completely false. If the Biden family had done nothing wrong, then there would have been no need to have given them preemptive pardons. And again, that was Joe Biden's last act as president. Did he do it? It was signed, at least 6 of the pardons were signed with an auto pen. So, I don't think that anyone can take anything that anyone who worked in the Biden White House during the last 6 months, I think you can take it with a grain of salt, because their record of dishonesty, again, it is on full display with that statement he just issued. Everybody in America knows the Biden bridge was coming. Now everybody in America knows that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to make a lot of these decisions. More and more evidence is coming out from Jake Tapper to other whistleblowers in the administration that some of these bureaucrats, these unnamed bureaucrats in the White House, were using the auto pen to sign Joe Biden's name on very important things like pardons and like executive orders.
And very quickly, on the signatures, we hear from this energy group that they're questioning whether many of these executive laws were even valid. In 2005, though, you had the DOJ Office of Legal Counsel determine that presidents can use auto pen to sign bills into law. So what would your committee have to find to make the determination that these laws are null and void?
Who gave the authority to a low-level staff to make this document, put it in the office, and expect power to sign Joe Biden's name? Because many of the documents were signed the day when Joe Biden wasn't anywhere near the White House. No evidence of any email communication between the president and these staff. We have the Hur report where Robert Hur sat down at length with Joe Biden and concluded that he couldn't even sit in front of the jury because he couldn't remember the day of his election and of tragic events in his family's life and things like that. So there's plenty of evidence that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to make a lot of these decisions. We don't know who actually getting the authority to do these executive orders and these pardons because, again, I think the American people have seen up close and personal, especially during that debate with Donald Trump, that Joe Biden wasn't at the top of his game. This physician, Dr. O'Connor, he continued to give reports saying he was mentally fit and in perfect health. Now we know otherwise, so that's why we're bringing them in.
Now, I want to ask about this. ESPN host Steve Naismith hasn't fully ruled out a White House bid. He argues that one consequence of the legacy media's cover-up of President Biden's decline is that
it makes Trump look right. Does not put his arguments about warfare?
Hi, what do you need?
Does it not buffer his arguments about fake news?
Sure thing.
Does
Limo
not
en route.
the credibility that comes to his arguments that it was a witch hunt?
how do you think Democrats wrestle with this?
I think they know that what Stephen A. Smith just said is true. They know that the American people think that the judiciary under Joe Biden and Merrick Roberts was weaponized to attack Donald Trump. I think they know that the legacy media networks were lying about Joe Biden's mental health. They were lying about Joe Biden's family influenced heavily the office of the presidency. And when you've got a family that was clearly guilty of influence peddling, a president who was not mentally aware of what was going on, and you're issuing wide-reaching executive orders and pardons, and the only people that are in the White House representing the Biden family are people who were failed in our investigation of influence peddling, then it raises a lot of questions as to what was the decision process and who was forging, because Joe Biden wasn't authorizing, someone was forging his name on some very important documents.
I want to ask you about another issue. I have one last one on this topic because the basement campaign we all remember, and a big team of Democrats really carefully managed the Biden presidency from the beginning. Are you at all concerned that this narrative allowing potentially a handful of people to take the blame for this cover-up will allow the rest of the people involved in all of the failures of that administration to wash their hands, their responsibility, and then just sail into the next, Democratic nominee's operation.
Obviously that's a concern. That's why we're starting at the bottom. Let's see if there's some things she's confirmed on that list. Let's start with the bottom. Are you kidding me? That's not that fun. Because are the people at the bottom going to get go down with you to protect the higher level people, the Clay, the Joe Biden, and those people that those to us believe were the ones actually calling the shots? We're going to start with the lowest dispatchers, the unnamed dispatchers that nobody ever heard about. Request to come into the city. Let's see who can get them the direction to get the audit in, and then we'll go there.
Before we move on to this, ICE agents arrested an illegal immigrant in Wisconsin. He allegedly wrote a letter threatening to assassinate President Trump. DHS says the 54-year-old Mexican national already has a long ground sheet, and that includes illegally entering the U.S. at least 9 times from 1998 to 2005. He's also been convicted of felony hit and run, criminal property damage, and disorderly conduct involving domestic abuse. Border Sergeant Tom Coleman with this.
It's very understanding through the news. I mean, he's exactly the primary of President Trump has ICE functioning on public safety threats and significant criminal history. Bad decision on his part to make a threat against the president based on having a felony charge.
Now some of the Trump administration say ICE needs to ramp up its arrests. Top White House aide Steve Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are pushing agents to that end. Miller explained why these numbers have to go up.
You're looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day, and President Trump is going to keep pushing, get that number up higher each and every single day. We can't take the risk of letting you buy the illegal, roam around freely, so the next American daughter can get raped, the next American kid can get murdered, the next American family can get splintered and torn apart.
House Republicans passed President Trump's budget bill. It significantly boosts Homeland Security funding, and that bill now faces a tougher road in the Senate. Chairman, I want to ask about this 3,000 number. Is that an arbitrary number? Is there any risk that Republicans lose messaging advantage that they have right now by putting a number on it?
And she put more than a number on it.
Strongly support Stephen Miller. He knows what he's talking about, and I think it's great to be serious about enforcing criminal.
Yep.
And I want to remind you, from the big, beautiful bill that we just passed out, it provides substantial funding to deport these criminal illegals. It's very expensive to deport them, and we're putting money in this big, beautiful bill to pay for that, to pay for the border wall, and to pay for more border control agents, so we can stop the fentanyl, we can stop the human trafficking, and we can stop the flow of people that Joe Biden has in this country. Now we're going to have to pay to send them back to where they came from. That's unfortunate, but that's something that President Trump said he would do. And Stephen Miller just confirmed it, and we're going to support even Congress.
All right. Chairman James Comer of the House Oversight Committee, thank you very much for your time this morning, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno.
I'm
and my co-host Harris Faulkner and Katie McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
Keeping in with this Fox News alert, House Republicans will not give up. They are digging into why America was left with a president, Joe Biden, in severe decline. And now, what we were watching from moments ago, another one of his top aides showing up on Capitol Hill to answer questions. Former Special Assistant to Joe Biden, Ashley Williams, will sit down for a transcribed interview with the Oversight Committee. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Earlier this week, Biden's former doctor, Kevin McConnell, spent his entire interview with that House panel on wash and repeat.
I must respectfully decline the answer based on position-patient privilege and reliance on my right on the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, on my right on the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
We won't make you sit through the 14th time that you have that. The committee posted this video of the interview with the caption, "What are they hiding?" House oversight is now coming weeks away from plans to interview former First Lady Jill Biden's senior advisor, Anthony Bernal, and the Biden White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain. David Sponge is on Capitol Hill. For David.
Hi, Harris, good to be with you. Unlike Dr. O'Connor, the former White House physician, Ashley Williams is not under a subpoena. She came voluntarily and is sitting for what's called here on Capitol Hill a transcribed interview, not a deposition. And sources believe that she will cooperate. They expect it to go for maybe 4 or 5 hours, perhaps. It just depends on how many questions are asked and how many are answered. We have video of her arriving not long ago with members of her team walking into this building. She didn't say anything when I asked if she has any comments or will say anything to the committee, but it's not unexpected as people typically don't talk to the media before they go into these. We'll see if she says anything when she comes out. She's a former special assistant to President Biden in his White House and a former director for strategic outreach. Notable, though, as I said, she's appearing on her own. We're not sure, though, how long she'll be there, but this is all part, as you mentioned, into the alleged decline and alleged cover-up involving then President Biden. Now, we saw him, meaning the Dr. Kevin O'Connor, invoke the Fifth Amendment over and over again, but these are just two this week of people from the Biden White House that members want to talk to. Investigators want to hear from these people as well. Former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, former senior advisors Mike Donnelly, Steve Ricchetti, Anita Dunn, Bruce Reed, Andy Tomasini, also notable former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and press aides Andrew Bates and Ian Sands. It's notable that Dr. Jill Biden, the former First Lady, her former top aide Anthony Bernal will be here next Wednesday. But Harris, much like Dr. Kevin O'Connor, he's appearing under subpoena, which means he will sit for a deposition, which certainly is more formal than a transcribed interview. I will note there are no members here today. They're on recess, so this is a staff-led interview that's transcribed with Ms. Williams.
So we will get to see. I mean, we can't see it because it's behind closed doors, but we will get to hear and read what she says. Good to see you, David Sponge. Thank you. Republican Senator Tim Scott of the great state of South Carolina is with me now. And first of all, talk to me.
It was crazy.